Okay. Can anybody hear me? I have just gone live and I would like to hear from you. Assuming you can hear my voice, please let me know where you're watching from, what your name is, your occupation. Okay, looks like we're okay here. And okay. Can anybody hear my voice? If you can hear me, please let me know. Let me know so I know that we're all ticking okay. And I will just give a couple of refreshes here and see who's coming on board here. Where are you watching from today? Let me know. It's 3 p.m. here in sunny Cheshire. It's cloudy. No surprises there, but it's not too unpleasant. And here we go. Some people are letting me know they can hear me. Vince from the UK. Hi, Vince. Judy from... Where's Judy from? Doesn't say. Thank you, Judy. You can hear me. That's great. And Mark can hear me. That's awesome. Anybody else? Let me know where you are watching from. Oh, Melbourne, Mark. Avis from the UK. Cape Cod, Massachusetts is Judy. Thank you, Judy. Kate says car. Does that mean you're watching from your car, Kate? Thank you for letting me know anyway. Oh, here we go. Jersey Shore, Karen. How says he can't hear well. Anybody else having trouble with the sound, or is it just How? How is calling from Hanoi, 9 p.m. there. Jim in New Hampshire. Okay, great. Let me just give this a refresh and well, let me say just first off that there's not been many pre-questions this week, so I hope you guys have got some questions you want to ask, because otherwise this could go a bit shorter than usual. But Marco from Croatia is here. Kate's from New Jersey, I believe. Mavis from New York City. All right. And let me just refresh here one last second, make sure I've got everybody can hear me fine. Jeff says he can hear me fine. Sorry, Jeremy says he can hear me fine. And everybody else, I'm getting lots of thumbs up, so that seems good. Seems good to me. So, like I said, I have a couple of questions that people have asked in preparation for this week. I assume that you got my email yesterday. If you're on my in my list, you should have received an email from me yesterday. And today I have a couple of questions, and then we'll just go live, and I'll answer your questions as they come in. So if you have questions you want to ask, feel free to add them in the comments now, because we only have like 2 questions to get through. And once those are through, we can jump into the live stuff. And I believe we'll just go with the flow. So I'll stay for as long as you guys ask questions. And if there's no questions, then we'll call it short today, and we can all go and design more t-shirts and keep ourselves busy. So let me just let you know what's happening here. It's 3 p.m. Like I said, it's cloudy outside. I am preparing to go away this time next week. I will be on my flight to first we're heading to Cincinnati to spend some time with my wife's family, and then I am flying to Seattle for the merch event there, and from there we're going to San Diego for about a week, just over a week. So I'm excited. It's going to be our first real holiday for about a year. We've not really been away. It's our first time taking our daughter away, who's 2 years old, so it's her first time on a plane, so that should be fun. So that's what's happening with me. And let me just refresh one last time. If you guys have any issues with the sound, just shout up. Otherwise, I assume that we are all good to go. Karen says we're all good. Jonathan says we're all fine. And, Jonathan just had a quick question here. The merch event, will you stream or video that event? Jonathan, the merch event is not being streamed live, but it is being recorded, and you can buy the recordings at, I believe the URL is merch.world. I'll just pop that in there. I don't know much else about the event. I am speaking at the event on the second day, but I do not, as far as I know, it's not being streamed live. So hope that answers that one, Jonathan. And before I get into any of your other questions, I will very quickly have a swing over to these questions that some people have asked yesterday in preparation. So the first one comes from Avis, and I will answer this one now. And Avis asks, whoa, Avis asks, let me sort this text out so you can see her question on your screens, hopefully. Oops. Can you believe it? Okay, here we go. It's going to annoy me if I don't change that. Sorry, guys. It's just one of those fiddly jobs here. Okay. Sorry, Avis, and sorry everyone for that. Avis asks, I am based in the UK. I would like to set up an e-commerce store to sell to customers worldwide. If the customer orders the wrong size or colour, how do you deal with returns? Do you get the customer to send the product back to the print-on-demand company, or do you use a mail forwarding address? That's a great question, Avis, and here's what I do. Now let me just let's go back a step and just explain in case anyone doesn't understand the premise of the question. When you are selling using a fulfillment partner, so let's draw this out here. So this is you, and you are going to receive orders from a customer. Here's the customer. And the order is going to come straight to your website. Let's say that it's a Shopify store, for example. And you are going to use, for example, Printful to do the printing and shipping of the t-shirt to the customer. So if there's a problem with the t-shirt, obviously you didn't kind of personally produce it, but if there's a problem such as wrong size, that's usually the issue I get most often, size or fit, or otherwise there might be a mistake with the print, not very often, or a mistake on the shirt. For example, they sent a women's shirt instead of a men's, or a small instead of a large, or whatever. So this can happen quite a lot. I say this happens quite a lot to me when I'm selling directly. So if I sell on Etsy and through my Shopify store, this is where you're going to encounter these problems. Because remember, the customer is your customer. They're not going to Printful. They're not going to Redbubble or Amazon to buy from. They're buying from you. And for that reason, that's why you will want to... You'll need to deal directly with the customer, and you will be the one they go to in case of situations like this. So, oops. Just lost my connection to my tablet here. Here we go. Okay. So let me crack on here. Once a customer contacts you then and says, I've got the wrong size, obviously you have paid Printful for the order, and you have to make a decision about whether you want to refund the customer, replace the order for the customer, or you want to deny them a refund or a replacement. So those are your basic two choices. You can either decide, I'm going to refund the customer, or I'm going to tell the customer, sorry, all sales are final, or something like that. Now, I don't like to upset customers, and in my opinion, it's always better to just refund them. Now, obviously, the problem is that you are going to take a hit. You are going to pay the cost, because you're going to effectively... You will have sent one shirt to the customer, shirt number one, and you've paid money for that. Let's say you paid Printful $15 for it. The customer paid $30, so if this stays as is, then we're fine because you've made $15 profit. However, if the customer now wants a second shirt sending out, shirt number two, then that's another $15 you're going to have to pay, and now you are you've not made anything. In fact, well, yeah, you've used up your previous $15. So that's the situation that you'll be in. Or you could refund the customer in that case. If you refund them, same situation. You basically send them back their $15 and you're back to where you started. You don't have the $15 profit, so you're back to zero. So you've made nothing. That's probably the best case scenario if you're making as big a profit as that. If you're making less profit than that, then obviously you're actually going to be in the minus down here. You're going to be making a loss every time you replace or refund a shirt, which does happen to me. So personally, I decide that it's better to accept the loss and maintain the goodwill of the customer than it is to have an upset customer and someone who might leave bad reviews, for example, on Etsy, because that's probably my biggest selling portal. And Etsy does have kind of a big review structure. It certainly is a big play on their platform, is the reviews section and stuff like that. So personally, I want to keep customers happy, and I will accept the refunds and the replacement costs within reason. For example, 30 days or something like that. But I almost never say no to a customer who asks for a refund or a replacement. Now, that didn't answer Avis's question, because Avis's question specifically was about what do you tell the customer to do. So what I tell the customer to do, Avis, is I tell them to send it back to the address of the fulfillment partner. Now, I put my brand, so I say you send it back to this address, but it will actually be the address of the fulfillment partner, but I'll put my brand name at the top. So, for example, Michael Essex Shirts, Detroit, Michigan, which is where Custom Cat is based, if I'm getting them to send it back to Custom Cat. Now, I don't have any way of checking if the actual package arrives, and if they do send it back, I'm basically just relying on trust, and I'm assuming that they're going to send it back. If they do send it back, I still don't get any refund from Custom Cat unless it's a mistake on their side. So if it's a case of this shirt doesn't fit me like I wanted it to, or I ordered a size too small, then I have to eat the cost on that. However, if it's a mistake with the print, for example, the print looks wonky, or they printed the wrong design, or they sent a women's shirt when it should have been a men's, or they sent a large when it should have been a small, then all those scenarios will be on the fulfillment partner, for example, Printful or Custom Cat. And in that case, you can very often speak to them and they will refund you the cost of that order so that you won't be out of pocket for that one. So that's how I deal with it. I get the customer to send the product back to the print on demand company, but I do not actually wait to confirm with the print on demand company whether they've actually received a return. I simply send a message to the customer saying, if you send it to this address, write your order number on the package and let me know when you've sent it. And usually the customer will then reply and say, hey, I sent it back yesterday, should be with you soon. So all I'm really doing is making sure that the customer, making sure that I'm not being taken advantage of by the customer, trying to mitigate against that. Obviously, if people knew that was how it worked, then I imagine people might order shirts and try and keep hold of them, not send them back and be sneaky like that. But most people are good people, and if they have a shirt that they've paid for, then they don't want to sneak out of paying for it. So that's how I handle it. I hope that answers all those questions, Avis. If not, please post any follow-up questions on that topic in the comments, and I will get to them as I work my way through the list. So, second question here today was from Marco, and he says he has an Amazon affiliate site that he made for a specific niche, and the shirts fit just fine there. Do you think I should post my merch shirts there? This will bump my rankings on merch. Or, just made a sale there, that's nice. Or to just sell them direct on my site, but then lose the benefit of bumping my rankings on merch. That is a very good question, Marco. And for those who maybe are not clear on what Marco's saying that he has a website, and it's you say it's an Amazon affiliate site. So he posts. So he has a website. Let's say this is his website. I imagine, let's say these are images that show shirts, and customers land on his website and they get sent over to Amazon to purchase the products. So, should he post his own merch shirts on his affiliate site? Because he's thinking that if he has those links coming from his site to his Amazon listings, that might bump his rankings on merch. For example, because he has links coming through to his own Amazon merch designs, that might give those designs a boost in the rankings, for example, in the search results, or perhaps on Google or something like that. So the option is, do you do it like that, or as he has his own site, should he just sell them? For example, instead of sending them to Amazon, have these images linked to a page on your own site where you sell, and then use a company like CustomCat or whatever to do the fulfillment. And what's the difference between these two options? So up here, he will probably, because he's playing on merch by Amazon and that kind of thing, your profit per sale is probably likely to be lower. And over here, if you were able to make sales on your own site, you're more likely to make more dollars per sale. So that would be consideration number one. Consideration number two would be, which of these two has the higher likelihood of driving more long-term sales? And I mean, it's usually going to be merch or Amazon, because if this affiliate site did contribute something to the rankings and did boost you up the results, then that, depending on the niche and depending on the popularity thereof, that could be worth a lot more than the relatively minor increased profit that you might be looking at getting on your own site. So you might make more per sale here, but are you ever going to be able to drive the same kind of traffic that Amazon can on Amazon.com? Probably not. And if it's a niche that is in any sense popular on Amazon, i.e. people are buying it there, people are going to Amazon and searching, then what's really happening is you're finding a way to filter off some of Amazon's traffic and give yourself a boost in those rankings there. So there's a lot of considerations here. I realize I'm going a bit fast, but Marco, off the top of my head, I very much like the hands-off approach of merch. I like the fact that I don't have to deal with returns and I don't have to deal with customer complaints or issues and that kind of thing. And obviously with the second option, with option 2 here, you would be dealing with customers. Having said that, if you have if this niche is something that you are committed to, that you are building for the long term, then, and if it does not have a particularly large, so say for example that you have a design, okay? I don't know what this niche is in, but let's say it's the dog niche, which is our go-to thing. So let's say you have a dog design that you list it on Amazon, and you also sell it on your own site, on your own niche site. And let's say that, for example, it's a German Shepherd design, and for whatever reason, the German Shepherd niche on Amazon isn't really very popular, but you are managing to sell some quite regularly on your own site. So what might be happening here is that Google is sending traffic to your niche site, to your affiliate site or whatever, and the traffic you're getting from Google is actually better than the traffic you're able to get from Amazon. Now, what might be the case is that Amazon is simply, this niche on Amazon is very saturated, and so your design simply isn't able to compete because there's too many players, there's too many fish in the pond. And so on Amazon, you're just not able to actually to get many sales in the first place. But over here, because you are focusing on Google, or you're focusing on driving traffic some other way, maybe you're able to make sales that way. So the question really becomes, is the links and the traffic that you send from your affiliate site to your Amazon designs, is that going to make enough of a difference to boost your rankings and get you a piece of the big German Shepherd pie that is happening on Amazon? And if the answer to that is yes, and I don't really know the answer to that, Marco, off the top of my head, I'm not really sure. That would depend on the niche, and it would depend on some other factors. But if we say, for example, that for whatever reason, the German Shepherd niche was not very big on Amazon. So, for example, there was not a lot of competition, there was not a lot of sales, and there's not a lot of traffic, and you're simply not selling many. So in that scenario, people simply are not going to Amazon to search for this niche. They're not going to Amazon to look for German Shepherd t-shirts. If that was the case, then I would be much more tempted to go the niche route, because I would be thinking there's not really much benefit to me driving traffic to Amazon, because the costs are going to be lower. There's not really any long-term benefit in terms of acquiring a customer, and there's no real brand building that I can do on Amazon. Whereas if I spend that energy driving people to my niche site and getting the customer there, then I have all the benefits there of a customer. For example, I can track them with FB Pixel. I can do advertising to them in the future. I can offer them coupons. I can charge higher prices. I can build really a more long-term business with this option than I can do with this. But do you see the distinction there? The question really is, what is the nature of the niche that you are talking about, or the market that you're going after? And if the market is busy on Amazon, then it might be more useful to drive traffic to your designs from your niche site. But if it's not, then I would probably want to go and focus on building my own site. So I hope that explains that one, Marco. And that brings us to the end of the two questions from the pre-questions, as it were. And I don't want to close Photoshop yet. So thank you guys for bearing with me there as we got through those questions. And I will now scroll back through and start looking at the questions that we have live. So first up, I think, is Vince has a question. So thank you, Vince, for watching today. Let me see if I can answer this for you. I'll paste it in here. Vince asks, does Custom Cat provide a letter about not supplying UPC for GTIN exemption? I am not sure, Vince. You would have to reach out to them directly. When I have done UPC exemption with Amazon previously, I did not require a letter from my fulfillment partner. Instead, there was a process whereby you could upload a spreadsheet showing your products, and I think it was something like, if you provided 50 products, you showed them the products, you gave them an example of your SKU. So I just created a custom SKU for each product, and I uploaded this, and Amazon accepted that. And that was not I was just following the instructions I read on Amazon. Maybe it's quicker to do the letter route, but I just followed the instructions I saw there, which were that if you uploaded the spreadsheet, I can't really remember exactly how it works, because it was some months ago now, probably last year, but that's the way I did it. So not sure if Custom Cat do, Vince. And also, what is your policy on re-uploading removed designs after 90 days? Saw a thread in a group about account termination. I don't know anything about account termination as it relates to removed designs. I don't really have a consistent approach to re-uploading removed designs, but right now, for example, I was just looking through yesterday, going back through my catalogue of designs, and there is more than a few designs there which I thought would have been removed by now, which don't seem to be. I think their 90 days is up, but it seems to me like they're still live. I don't know whether I've just got my dates wrong on that. But my intention is to re-upload anything that doesn't sell, simply because why not? Because it's not going to make any sales, sat on my desktop. So it's much better for me to upload them. What I think I did the last time I did this was I re-uploaded a batch and simply lowered the prices a little bit to see if that made any difference. But apart from that, I don't really have a policy. I don't really have a consistent approach. I can tell you that for example, with an eye on Q4, I'm looking at uploading all my designs again, partially to kind of mitigate any potential remove designs after the 90-day rule, but also to kind of pack out some of the niches that I'm in. And perhaps I'm thinking of doing either the designs on a premium shirt and charging a bit more and that kind of thing. So basically come up with a variation and a reason to relist all my designs. And honestly, it's probably not going to be all my designs. I will go through the list and think, okay, there's no point uploading this one, whatever. But I will, that's kind of my thinking and my approach for Q4 as we ramp up in towards it. So I hope that answered your question, Vince. Let me see what else we've got here. Eileen. Excuse me, just having a sip of water. Eileen asks, for your course, would you advise we have some knowledge of Adobe Illustrator or Photoshop? Eileen, as it relates to the course I have coming up, you would not necessarily need either. I think if you are doing the t-shirt business and you want to take it seriously, then I certainly think having at least a basic knowledge of Photoshop or Illustrator would be good. I spend most of my time in Photoshop and did for the past 3 years as I was building up this business. I occasionally stray into Illustrator, but very rarely. And I think it's a handy skill to have. But having said that, it really isn't a necessity because, of course, you can outsource the designing process. What I think is perhaps more important than knowing how to use Photoshop is actually knowing the output and the kind of nature of designs for t-shirts and why designing a t-shirt is different than, for example, designing a poster or a postcard or something like that. And I will go into that in the course, but you don't need to know Photoshop to know that. You only really need to understand why we're doing what we're doing in Photoshop. And personally, I've been looking recently at Photoshop alternatives because I've been having to buy a new license for someone who's going to be working for me. So I was looking at alternatives, and I'm not wedded to Photoshop or to Adobe. There are other software packages out there which obviously you can design in. There are some web-based things like specifically for merch and that kind of stuff. So you don't need to know Photoshop or Illustrator. No. I hope that answers that one. And you posted I've got the question twice here, but that doesn't matter. No problem. So, next question up is Marco, who asks, question, how long before holidays like Halloween and others should we post shirts up? Good question, Marco. I believe that if you head over to YouTube and take a look at the Merch Informer channel, Neil at Merch Informer did a video on this recently, and if you just go over, let's see here, Merch Informer. Oh, another sale. Just try and find the exact video for you. When should you upload merch by Amazon holiday designs? So Neil did a good little video on that. Basically, the idea is that you want to upload it so that you don't obviously you don't want to upload something now with the risk that it gets removed following the 90-day rule just a few days before Halloween starts or Halloween sales really pick up, for example. Obviously, Halloween is now not a problem. If you upload it now, there's no way it's going to be removed before Halloween. But for Christmas, you might want to hold off for a couple of, what would it be, like 90 days would be, so you'd want to have all your designs up for the start of December. So if you started uploading in September, 30 days would be October, so yeah, if you started uploading end of September, start of October for Christmas, then there's no risk there of your designs being removed before before the sales start coming in. I guess the other consideration is, does it help or hurt to upload very close to the actual trend, if you like? if you think of Christmas as a trend or Halloween as a trend, is it better to have designs up way before Halloween hits, or as Halloween hits? Is it okay? I don't really have an answer exactly on that one. I can tell you that personally, I am beginning to design certain designs for Halloween and Christmas, and I am going to be listing them just as part of my normal listing process. But what I am probably going to do, just maybe around the end of September for Halloween, is I will look through my designs, pull out any Halloween specific ones, and then probably relist those ones just to make sure that I have all my bases covered and that all those designs have a chance of selling over Halloween in case any had been previously removed. So that's what I'm probably going to do that before Halloween. I'll probably do a similar thing before Christmas as well. And I would leave that, I wouldn't leave it, more than 30 days before you expect sales to really pick up. So for October, I don't think people are really, I could be wrong here, but I don't think people are going crazy with Halloween stuff until October starts. And with Christmas, I think people are going to start going a bit crazy around November. So I would want to have all Christmas designs up by the end of October. I would want to have all Halloween designs up by the end of September. And then what I remember from last year is that I had a few hot sellers in Christmas and Halloween, and I spent most of my time during October and during December kind of changing prices and battling in the trenches, trying to keep top spot and batting away copycats and stuff like that. So that's what they looked like for me last year. I don't really have much of a plan this year besides getting all my designs up. I'm not sure really what my focus is going to be around Christmas because it's just kind of crazy time. I think if you don't have, I don't think there's much point creating loads of designs in December for Christmas because you're probably going to have missed it by then. But having said that, I know people were uploading Eclipse shirts way up until the last few weeks of that and still making a lot of sales. So, yeah, I think it's kind of a bit of a suck it and see situation. So I hope that helps you, Marco, with your seasonal designs, shall we call them. Eileen asks, can you use the term bitch on Amazon or refer to drinking alcohol? You can certainly refer to drinking alcohol. I am not 100%. No, I don't. I think bitch is not appropriate. I don't think you can use that word. I think the only exception might be if you are clearly using it in a to refer to perhaps a female dog, I don't know, and it was clearly not used in a search in a what's the word? Curse type situation. But personally, I think bitch is off limits. Okay, Martin asks, is there any keyword research tool for Redbubble where we can see what people are looking for? No, Martin, not as far as I know. The closest thing would be to look on Redbubble for what people are selling or what is selling well on Redbubble. And you can do that by going to Redbubble and looking, if you just kind of drill down by shirts, you can look at trending shirts on there. And okay, who's next up? Adrian asks a question. Hi Michael, I want to launch my first POD site and test a few designs while I'm waiting for my merch invite. I'd like to be able to post the POD product site page on my own website too somehow. What's your best recommendation to start with the EU primarily in mind? Okay, Adrian, I assume then you mean you want to be able to sell products directly on your own website? Is that what you mean? So in that case, if you are in the EU, then I think I know Printful just launched in the EU, but I don't think they're really kind of up and running yet. I think there's a company called All Over Print, which is based in the UK, and I've used those before, and they're quite good and quick, and they obviously ship from the UK, so they're quite good for the EU, and they have a Shopify app. So if you look on their website, you might be a bit confused because it gives the impression that you need to go through an approval process. But if you use their Shopify app, then you can get started with them straight away. And I've used them before, very easy to use. So I would look at using those guys. Of course, they only have a Shopify app right now. So if you're not going to use Shopify for your website, then that could be a problem. I'm trying to think if there's I think there are a few other UK print-on-demand companies, but off the top of my head, I can't think of any of them. I know that Printify... Printify have a Shopify app. I believe Printify also will allow you to place orders directly through their site. So if you didn't want to use Shopify, you could place orders manually. And I do believe that they have they have just started using yeah. So they have a UK based printer. So Printify is a bit different from the other print-on-demand companies in that Printify is kind of trying to be more of a marketplace. So it's actually connecting you with people who will print the shirts, but Printify themselves don't print any shirts for you. They simply hook you up to the printers who will do the printing, and they have various printers they work with. So one of them is based in the UK, and the rest of them are based in the US, one in California, one in Florida. So you can actually choose, and another one in California. So you can choose which company you actually want to do the printing on your behalf. And you can obviously choose the location, which is kind of handy if shipping and those kind of things are a concern to you. So Printify might be another option that you might want to look into, Adrian. But if I've not understood your question correctly, then please repost it and I will take a swing at that. Okay, I'll just take this one by Natalie and then I will give it a refresh. Natalia asks, a different side to Marco's question, something that I've been wondering about for a while. Is it okay with Amazon merch if I promote my merch shirts, say on social media or by posting on my blog, by using my Amazon Associates link, or is it against their terms? As far as I know, Natalia, it is perfectly okay to do that with affiliate links. I guess you'd call it like double dipping or something, but it's as far as I know, it's not a problem. Now, I could be wrong there. Things might have changed, but the last time I checked, it was not a problem, and I have been doing that myself and not had any problems yet. So I hope that answers that one for you, Natalia. Marco has another question here. Michael, do you know in the UK printing companies like Printora that I can use to ship shirts to EU from Etsy shop? So Marco, just like I just got through saying, Printify and All Over Print and Printful, of course, just launched in the EU. I'm not 100% sure if everything's up and running yet. See if I can see here. Okay. I'm not 100% sure if they're up and running completely yet, but I do know that they have recently set up a base in Europe. So if it's not up and running yet, then hopefully it should be soon. And their base is in... let me see if I can find it here. Here we go. Okay, so yeah, which products are available? The first product categories are posters, and direct-to-garment shirts, which is obviously what we want. We'll start by stocking our most popular models. So I think what might be happening here with Printful is that they will actually decide what orders get shipped from Europe. So, for example, if they can ship it from their Europe base, then they will do so to a EU-based customer, assuming so they're kind of taking control of that on your behalf, so you don't have to do anything. I think that's right. I'm not 100% sure on that. You could read through this this blog post here. Let me just post the link in the comments in case you want to do that. And that should be handy for you if you are... Okay, Riga, Latvia is where they're based. So they will... I think, like I just said, they will actually take care of it for you. So if you do sell to a customer in the EU, if they receive an order from you that is to a customer in Europe, then they are probably going to send that from their Europe base, unless, of course, the product is not yet available in Europe for them, in which case they'll ship it from the US. So apart from Printful, All Over Print, and Printify, I've not used any other UK companies before, so bear that in mind. I can only vouch for All Over Print and Printful. But obviously, if you're selling on Etsy, then Printful is your only direct option there, unless you want to use Shopify and place orders manually through there. So, continuing that train of thought on Etsy, here's another question. Michael, what's happening with the new Printful Etsy integration that's not fully working yet? Do you think there is a conflict due to using ShipStation and CustomCat somehow? I'm not sure where CustomCat comes into it because that's not a consideration for me. However, you could be right that I am using ShipStation and with Printful and Etsy right now, and that could be causing a conflict. Basically, the problem I had when I've been testing the new Etsy Printful integration is that some orders are simply not coming through. And I have a couple of Etsy shops, and two of the shops were working fine, and then one of the shops wasn't passing the orders through. So for that reason, I've maintained the ShipStation integration for now, just to make sure that I have every order coming through as it should do. So that's the only problem I've had, and you could be right that if I turned off ShipStation, everything might work okay, but I'll have to give that a go sometime. But right now, it's not really a concern for me. I do quite like the ShipStation, the way ShipStation works, and one of the things I was concerned about with the new Etsy integration was whether new orders would come through from Etsy that could then be synced, because I don't want to do the setup of adding products in the first place to Etsy via Printful. I want to just have those come through from Etsy, and then I'll hook them up, and then all future orders will come through automatically. So that's kind of how I've been approaching that for the past week or so. But I do like the ShipStation integration. Does seem to work fine, and it works for me right now. So Dennis asks, is it okay to put the word premium in the title when uploading premium shirts? I think so. I certainly see a lot of that going on, and I don't see any reason why it would be a problem. So yes, Dennis, I think that's fine. Is the short answer. I can't see any reason why it would not be. There's certain things I wouldn't put in my titles, like made in the USA or ships from the USA, or I don't know, anything that kind of relates to the nature of the t-shirt rather than the design. I would want to keep my descriptions focused on the design. I realize that premium is not a comment on the design itself, it's a comment on the shirt, and obviously you're using that simply to differentiate and perhaps justify a higher price point. So I don't think there's a problem with it, and I think it might be something I'm going to be doing in the coming weeks as we get ready for quarter four. Dixon asks, if you put Christmas up now, earlier than September 27th, you'll be within the 90-day rule. That's correct. If you do them now, then you're probably going to you're going to be at risk. And Karen just confirmed that no, you cannot use the word bitch. That's true. Thank you, Karen. Okay. How long have we been going here? 40 minutes already. Wow, time flies when you're answering a lot of questions. Linda asks, if I want to include fan art tees or other licensed images, how do I go about getting permission or licensing of the images, tease, etc. Well, that depends on what kind of images you're talking about, Linda. If you're talking about, for example, using Star Wars images or something like that, then I believe, and our friend Ken was talking about this at the merch conference a few weeks ago. If you want to get a license from Star Wars to sell Star Wars merchandise, then it's going to cost you $500,000 just to get the agreement, or you will have to guarantee to them that you will provide them with $500,000 in sales, in royalties or whatever. So that gives you an example of what the situation is like for the big franchises and big companies. If you are Disney or you are Marvel or you are Star Wars, licensing is huge business for these guys, and you as a independent seller with a merch account are not going to be of interest to them. In fact, Amazon are reaching out to these guys directly, as we know, and already signing them up so that Star Wars, in effect, has their own Merch by Amazon account or whatever. So I guess the only relevant question then would be, how do you go about getting permissions or licenses from smaller players? So, for example, independent artists. And there's no real, this is the way you do it. It would simply be a case of reaching out to them and saying, can I get permission to sell your art on my, through Amazon or whatever? And you would have to crack some kind of deal with them. And you can do a lot of research into this if you're interested in licensing in this way or working with people in this kind of method. Then I would recommend you read up about it. It's a big industry, the licensing industry. There's magazines and stuff you can get, books you can read about it. But usually you will cut a deal on a percentage basis, and in most cases you will also usually artists would expect that as part of a licensing deal you would give them a minimum guarantee. So you will give them perhaps an estimate of what you expect to sell of their designs, and obviously then the money that the artist can expect to make. So for example, you want to license 50 designs from an artist, and you think that you will make, or that you will be able to sell 100 designs, 100 shirts a month, for example. And that will translate to the artist as a percentage of those sales they will get. And so they will get, if they got, say, $1 per shirt sold or something, they would get $100 a month. And so that might be what your estimate is, sales estimate. And then you would have your minimum. So this would be so you would provide this to the artist. You would say, hey, I really love your designs. I think I can sell 100 a month, and that will be worth to you $100 a month because we're going to pay you $1 for every shirt that we sell. And then you would have to say, but if I'm wrong, I'm going to guarantee you a minimum of $50 a month. And I'm going to guarantee that whether we sell 50 or not. So I think we'll do 100, but if we don't, you're still going to get $50 a month or whatever. So that is kind of quite a standard approach to licensing when it comes to artists and independent artists and stuff. So I would definitely recommend, if you're just getting into you're just kind of, scoping this thing out, that you read upon it, have a look on Amazon for some books on the topic. I don't have any books I can recommend. I do know that there are a couple of licensing expos and meetings that happen in various places, and there's a magazine I believe called Licensing. What's it called? It might just be called Licensing Magazine or something. License Mag. I think this is the one. Yep. License Global. So this is a big, or this is kind of the licensing magazine. So you might want to maybe see if you can get hold of a couple of copies of that. Might be a good introduction into it and how things work. And I believe there's an organization called Lima. Lima is the Licensing Industries Association. So I think you can have a look here. They'll probably kind of explain to you. This is if you're going to be an artist who's licensing designs, or you're going to be someone who's licensing designs from artists, then you might be interested in signing up with Lima. I think it's like a annual cost, and you get access to events, and you get access to certain I don't know, all kinds of things that might, it's an organization that helps people who are involved in licensing, basically. So it might be something you're interested in looking into if you want to go down that route. But those would be the ways that you have to start, Linda. So I hope that answers your question in how you would go about getting permission. And places like Lima and such, they will be able to give you kind of the basics and give you, for example, licensing agreements that you could use with people that you want to work with going forwards. So you don't have to do this all from scratch, but there's a lot that goes into it and a lot of considerations there. So definitely try and start exposing yourself to some research and information on the topic. Okay, Karen asks, do you have all your shirts under one brand, and do you use AMS? Okay, great question. I do not have all my shirts under one brand on Amazon, Karen. And I do not yet use AMS, but I've just about finished my application to get set up on it today, in fact. So that should be happening soon, and I will be playing around with that and hopefully doing some, having some joy there and having something I can share with you guys soon once I've had some success. I am excited. I think there'll be some interesting things we can do with AMS that I've not played around with yet. And okay, let me have a look here. Oh, Ragu says Inkthreadable is in the UK. They're another POD company. Let me just pull those guys up. Oops, I have heard of those. I forgot that I was Inkthreadable. I don't think I've used these guys, but they do have. Okay, they have a Shopify app, and I believe you can place your orders online manually. Okay, you can, manual ordering, or you can place your orders via CSV. So that's interesting. And they have WooCommerce, Shopify integration, and apparently coming soon to all these other possible integrations. So I haven't used Inkthreadable myself, so can't comment on them, but that's another UK-based print-on-demand company, so that's something you might want to check out for Europe or UK consumers. Dixon has a question, which I will tackle. Oh, there it is. Will you report what the secret speakers at the seminar you're speaking at in Seattle have to say? Rumor 2 speakers from Amazon. Dixon, I cannot promise anything. I don't know. It depends. I mean, this conference is going to be. It's not kind of been. I know it is now finally open to the group, and Chris has been promoting it the past week, but it's not been previously public and excuse me. And so it's been kind of an invite-only thing for the past few months, and I don't know. Of course, I don't know what's going to be said there, and I don't know if I will be able to report things that are shared. I will have to wait and see. Sorry, I can't say more now, but if there's stuff that I can share, then I believe I will. I'm just thinking that perhaps if there are, and it's a big if there are speakers from Amazon there, then there may be stuff said that cannot be shared, or that is said in confidence that they might not want to be made public yet. So I'm just saying that to explain why I might not be able to say what happens. But if you're interested, of course, the recordings will be made available, and I have no reason to believe that anything would be edited out of the recordings. So if you do want the recordings, check them out at merch.world. I'm not involved in the organization of the event. I am not making any money from the event. I am simply attending and speaking at the event. So I've got no dog in the fight, as it were. If you if you buy the recordings, I don't get anything from it. So I'm just sharing it with you for your own benefit if you want to get involved in that. So, next question, Marco asks, did you use ads on Etsy, the ones built in them? What was your success with them? How did you do it? Marco, I am using the ads in Etsy. However, there are two ad options with Etsy. One of them is Google Shopping Ads. Let's call it Google Shopping Ads. And the other is Etsy's promoted, I think they call it promoted listings or something. So if you're in Etsy, you'll see once you're in your shop manager, there's a tab down the side that says marketing, I think. And that is where you will find links to these two options. One is called Google Shopping Ads and one is called promoted listings. They both work in exactly the same way, in that you simply go in there and you click a button and it says, do you want to make ads live? And then you set a daily budget, and then it will just automatically list all your listings on Google or on promoted listings within Etsy. So I have done both in the past month, and I can tell you that the promoted listings with Etsy was not worth it, but the Google Shopping Ads is very much worth it. And I think I was just looking yesterday, I spent something like $5 in the past week and made something like 500 in sales on Etsy. And obviously that's kind of a bit strange and not normal, but just as that gives you and I think I'd spent something like $30 on promoted listings and made $30. So basically promoted listings hadn't brought me anything over the past couple of months, but Google Shopping Ads certainly had done. So I would recommend, if you're on Etsy, using Google Shopping Ads. And I just set a budget of, I think, $5 a day. And it's pay-per-click, so if you don't get clicks, you don't pay anything. So that's why you will have days where you don't spend anything. And you may have other days where you quickly use up your $5. But it's working for me so far, and I'm just keeping an eye on that. And I think that will be useful when we get a bit more traffic as well as we head into quarter four. So I hope that answers that one, Marco. Jim asks, how do you drive traffic to Etsy? The answer, Jim, is that I do not. Apart from what I just got through saying, which was Google Shopping Ads, which I pay via Etsy for, Google Shopping Ads. I don't. Etsy has an organic traffic base, which seems to convert quite well for me, so I make sales every day on Etsy without really doing much of anything apart from the Google Shopping Ads. But even before I was doing Google Shopping Ads, I would make sales organically on Etsy. So they simply have a big enough reach and what's the word I'm looking for? Organic audience that you can pick up organic sales directly through Etsy. So hope that answers that one for you. And Vince has a question here. Your AMS application. Where did you go to apply? So, yeah, this is a bit complicated, and basically you need to have a Vendor Express account. So Vendor Express you can sign up for. It's fairly simple. If you go to Vendor Express on Amazon, what you do need to have is what do you need to have? I only did it yesterday. I can't remember off the top of my head. Let me see if I can find out now. No, I can't. I tell you what you should do, Vince, is there's an article about this on Merch Informer. Our good friend Neil has kindly produced something on this topic, which is very helpful. So I'll just find it for you, and I'll post the link for you in the comments. So if you go in here and search for AMS, here it is. The Ultimate AMS Guide to Marketing Your Merch. And I'll post the link there. So I just followed the instructions on that article, Vince. I did very similar stuff, and I was able to get a Vendor Express account set up. You will need a US bank account, so I used Payoneer to get a US bank account set up. And the only other potential difficulty, I believe, is you need a tax identification number, which I don't have yet, and I believe you might need a US mailing address in order to do that. But I believe the information is contained, everything you need is contained in that blog post. So that should help you with that. So, are there any other questions, general questions, that I can help anyone with today before I wrap this up? We've been going for exactly an hour on the nose, so I will happily take any last minute questions before I bring this to a close, but if not, I'll just give a few more refreshers. So I believe we've got a few people still watching, so if you are watching and you've got a burning question that you just want to get off your chest before I hang this up, then please go ahead and ask it now. And if not, I will close it off. So let me just I'll just do one last refresher and make sure no one's asked anything in the past few seconds. Oh, a couple of people. Adrian has a quick one. Which or best EU-based POD site to start with? It depends what you mean by POD, Adrian. I use POD to refer to both print-on-demand sites, and when I say sites, I mean like Redbubble, TeePublic, etc. Or POD fulfillment, which would be companies that print and ship on your behalf, such as Printful, Prints.or, Custom Cat, Printify, all these guys. So, best EU-based POD site, I would go with Redbubble because they actually do produce products in the EU and ship them from there. So they seem to do well for EU-based, certainly for me, for British-based markets. Outside, if we're talking about a fulfillment company, then I believe we've already covered that today, and that would be your options would be, what did we say? Inkthreadable, All Over Print, one that I've used, Printify, and Printful. So I hope that helps you there, Adrian. Brick has some information for us here with regards to AMS. Brick says, you don't need a US address to get your EIN. Oh, thank you, Brick. Brick, if you could say how we get an EIN without a US address, that would be great. Because I don't know about that. As far as I understand, I have to get a US mailing address at least and fill in a tax form. But are you saying, Brick, that we just need the tax form? That would be great. But yeah, any information you can share on that, Brick, would be great. I'm sure we'd all appreciate it. Jeremy says, have you done any videos on uploading to Etsy? No, I don't believe I have, Jeremy, and I will be covering that in the future. But not right now. I do not have a video on that topic. Linda asks, would you create a Etsy shop for each niche? It depends, Linda. And the big question is usually, is this niche big enough, long-term enough to sustain, to build a business off the back of? Because, of course, you could just produce an Etsy store called Hilarious T-shirts, and then it could have all kinds of different sub-niches within it. So yeah. Depends. If I was committed to a niche and I knew what I was doing, then I'd be happy to open a few different stores. I do have a few different stores, and they are kind of targeted at different markets. I wouldn't call them niches, but they're different markets. And I think it makes sense to keep it that way. But it really depends on the nature of your designs and the markets that you are targeting. But you certainly could do. Candice asks, how do you use social media? Candice, I almost don't use social media very much. The only social media I really use as it relates to t-shirts is Instagram. And I have an Instagram account with something like 20,000 followers, and I should post a lot more often than I do, but I regularly post on there and display new designs, and I drive some advertising to that account and do things like that. So I've not really been too heavy on it the past months, but earlier in the year, and I wrote a blog post about it on my blog, I did quite a bit of Instagram sponsored posts with Instagram influencers and that kind of thing. And I did see a decent return on investment from that advertising. So if you are, I have played around with Facebook ads as well, but apart from that, I don't use Twitter, I don't use Pinterest. I am exclusively Instagram and Facebook right now as far as social media, but I don't do any kind of organic stuff on Facebook. I only use Facebook to do advertising. So hope that helps you, Candice. I will be saying more about that in the future, but right now that's kind of how it works for me. Eileen asks, is this being recorded? Yes, Eileen, it will be available straight away after we've finished here. And of course, it will be emailed out to my list next week. Maria asks, would you recommend to open an Etsy shop to someone that never sold there and has no experience other than with PODs and not much spare money at the moment? Maria, I certainly think that after Amazon and Redbubble, Etsy would be my next one on the list, because it does have the organic reach that I just got through talking about, and it's relatively easy, and it's especially easy now that Printful have just launched integration, to sell on there. And you have the benefits of being able to charge higher prices, I have found. It's not as high competition as Amazon, and I just think there's a lot of opportunity there for people. So I guess it depends. I mean, obviously, it's going to take time because you're going to have to upload a lot of designs, Maria. It's not a case of, upload a design and magic happens and it sells. You still have to upload a lot of designs in order to make decent sales. And all the other specifics hold true. If you can do, for example, if your designs aren't selling on Redbubble or they aren't selling on Amazon, they're probably not going to sell on Etsy. But if you do have designs that are selling and you want to increase the capacity to make money for you, then I would list them on Etsy, because why not? It's not going to hurt, and it's quite an easy platform to sell on. So spare money, as far as the money cost is concerned, I think it costs you 20 cents or something to list a product on Etsy. So it's not breaking the bank by any means, and you can certainly get started and dip your feet in the water for quite cheap and see how it goes. So yeah, I would recommend it, Maria. I mean, I've been selling on there for like 3+ years, and I think it's a great platform. It has its few drawbacks, but it's still a great place, especially with the organic reach. And I don't believe you really have to use like Google Shopping ads to drive traffic. There is still some decent organic traffic through Etsy that you can pick up on. So I will leave that there. And Amanda asks, do you know of any services that provide trademark advice without hiring a lawyer, like a pay-by-the-question type platform? Great question, Amanda. I'm almost sure there will be something out there, but I don't know off the top of my head anything like that. But I'd be very surprised if there wasn't a call a lawyer type site that will allow you to ask simple questions and get answers on that. Candice says, sorry, I mean, how do you use social media for selling your products? Okay, I think I answered that one before, Candice, so thank you for that. Scott asks, Michael, do you own a trademark for your t-shirt brand? No, Scott, I do not, but I am considering that very seriously for the coming months, because I think it would make sense for me to do so. And the reason is I think it could help for selling on Amazon, perhaps outside of merch, and also perhaps as a way to protect merch listings from copycats who might just take designs without looking at kind of descriptions and titles. I think if I have a trademark, that could be one quick way to get copycats removed as well. So yeah, it's certainly something I'm considering and thinking about for the future, Scott, but I do not have anything just yet. As far as I understand it, it's not that complicated to get a trademark, assuming it's an original term and stuff like that. So I hope to have more to share about that as I walk through the process, but right now I do not. Marco says, when he goes to Etsy Google advertising, I can choose to advertise just one shirt. In promoted listings, I'm looking and cannot find it. Not sure what the question is there, Marco, but there is a Google advertising option, I think, and that's the one I would recommend you use. And just have a search around. I'm sure you'll be able to find it there under marketing. And Brick says, there is a number you call and they ask you a few questions. You can use your UK address. Okay, so I believe that's in response to our questions about AMS and getting an EIN tax number for signing up for AMS. So thanks for that, Brick. That's good to know. So you apparently don't need a US address. You can use your UK address. So that's useful. Chris asks, do you use the same brand names for specific niches across different POD platforms? Basically, Chris, on all platforms apart from merch, I have the same brand name, and all designs are under that one account. So, for example, with Redbubble, if you've used Redbubble, you'll know that Redbubble you have one username for an account, and then all your designs are under that one account. So I only have 2 or 3 different Redbubble accounts, and I really just have 1 or 2 that are the major Redbubble accounts, and everything is under that. So yeah, the only exception to that is merch, where I have a different brand for almost every design, using keywords to hopefully contribute something to that. So I hope that explains that one, Chris. Candice asks, do you post designs only on Instagram or other types of images info? Candice, I would definitely mix it up with other types of images related to your niche and your market. So it could be just funny images, it could be quotes, it could be photos of whatever, beaches or whatever it is that you're doing, dogs. But yes, I do mix it up, and I will have some more information on that in the course. But for now, that's what's working for me. And Michael, how many listings should I have in one Etsy shop? No limit. I think I have about 1,000 plus in one of my Etsy shops now. See no problem there. Also, are you selling more products than only t-shirts? I am selling t-shirts and sweaters right now, and that is it. I am toying with the ideas of getting into mugs and stuff like that, but right now I'm just doing t-shirts and sweaters, and those seem to be working for me. Oh, I do sell posters using Printful to do the fulfillment. So yeah, posters as well on Etsy, which seem to sell pretty decently, and obviously you can charge quite a high markup on posters and prints. So hope that helps. I believe that will bring us up to the end of the show here. I think I've answered everyone's questions, and so thank you for joining me today, guys. I just want to quickly say, and I'm just going to pause here for a moment and say that what time are we on here? I can't see. Anyway, okay, let me... I will. The reason I paused is because this part of the video won't go out to my email list, but I do want to send that what we just got through. I will send out to my email list next week. But the reason I don't want them to be involved on this part is because I just want to mention again what's happening with the course. So I saw a question before from Eileen, which was, when will the course start? So if you're watching this and you don't know, then I am starting a live course in October. It's called the T-Shirt Business Master Plan, and it will be taught live much the same way that this video is going out to you live. It's going to be taught via Facebook in a private group, and the recordings will all be recorded. Everything will be just the same as it is here, so you can watch back the sessions. We'll do questions and answers, and I'm basically going to teach my whole business, how I grew my business, basically everything from the designs to the promotion to the marketing, exploiting niches on merch, how to come up with ideas, how to find ideas that will sell, how to come up with original ideas, how to track your ideas and your designs, everything basically. I'm just going to give you a full behind the scenes of my business and cover everything from merch to Shopify and almost everything in between. So it's going to be great. I've already started fleshing it out, and many of you will already be involved. You'll already be in the group. You can see already we've got 168 members in the group. But if for some reason you are not yet involved, then you can still sign up. And currently, if you go to, I'll just put a link to make sure people can get hold of this. If you go to michaelessick.com/secret course, then you'll be able to get access there. The price will be going up eventually to $19.99, but it's available today for $2.99. That price is not going to hang around for long, but right now that's the price, and it will be jumping to $4.99 probably before, definitely before October. So sometime in September the price is going to go up. So if you are interested and you want to get in at this price, then please do so. This offer is only for people in my private group. That's you. If you're watching this now, you're in my group. That means you get access to this pricing. The pricing will never be at $2.99 again. Once it jumps, it won't go back down. So I'm just trying to make sure that everybody in my group, those people who have purchased from me previously and who have engaged in my group, that's all you guys, you get a chance to get in at this price point, because I want to work with people who are committed and who are going to get a lot out of the course and are going to have an opportunity to really make a successful long-term t-shirt business. So I hope that explains it. I just want to make sure that everyone gets an opportunity. So that's what's happening. You can get that there. It's $2.99, or there's also a link down the bottom if you want to pay with PayPal. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no chance of you missing out on this. Basically, you're booking in your slot for $2.99. If you don't like it, you can get a full refund after 30 days. So if you want a refund before the course starts, you can just get one. Just email me and I'll refund you. Or if we start the course, anytime 30 days into the start of the course, you can still get your money back if you decide that the course isn't for you, it isn't what you were expecting or whatever. So there's no real downside. There's no reason not to sign up and get it at $2.99. I will be sharing some more information soon when I flesh it out, but for right now the price is hanging at $2.99, and of course it's not going to get any lower than that, but it is going to jump up sometime in September. So I just want to make sure everyone gets an opportunity to get in at this point if you haven't already. And let me just share with you guys what's going to be happening. So I think I mentioned in my email I'm away from next week, so there'll be no Ask Me Anything next week. I don't think I'll be able to do one in Seattle, but I could do. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens really, but I'm not 100% that I'll be able to do one while I'm away. And certainly towards the last few weeks of September, I will be with my family on holiday, so probably not going to be able to do anything. But there's a possibility I might be able to hop on and do a quick live chat if I get some free time there. But otherwise, it's probably going to be the end of September before you hear from me directly. But at the end of September, I will be back, obviously, with some more information on the course, and we will start doing weekly Ask Me Anythings again, as per normal. So let me just have a quick refresher. I just see a couple of questions come through there. Amber asks, have you heard any changes to Amazon's keyword system? No, Amber, I have not. If you want to share any information on that in the group, that would be great. But I have not heard anything about that. So that brings us to the end, I believe, for today. So we've gone almost an hour and 20 minutes. Thank you for joining me, guys. I will be posting updates from Seattle, and you'll be able to, of course, watch me there on the recordings, not live. And I do believe there'll be some fun stuff and photos and whatnot from Seattle. So keep an eye here on the group, and I'll maybe try and post some stories and pictures and stuff of my travels while I'm away. So I will be with my computer, but I will not be doing regular Ask Me Anythings on Wednesdays. And emails might be a bit sparse as well while I'm away. But as long as you know about that, then there's no need to panic, and I will talk to you all in September. And of course, if you have any comments, questions, anything in the meantime, you can ask in the group, or you can drop me an email and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I may be a bit slack over the holiday period while I'm away, but thank you guys for watching today. Gordon says he's looking forward to the course. Thank you, Gordon. And any other questions I can help you with, drop us a line or drop us a comment. And otherwise, I will speak to you, see you over the next few weeks. So thank you guys. Have a great rest of your Wednesday, and I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.